Alright, guys, I am now here to give you guys the review on NXT February 5th of 2020 review here. As mentioned in the AEW Dynamite episode, I really enjoyed both shows. I thought NXT and AEW are both well made episodes here. Fairly produced well, and I thought it was a good overall presentation to the viewer. And this one's no different, guys. I enjoyed this one. It had some ups, it had some downs, but most importantly, it was a solid show. It was very watchable. It was fun to watch. It was good wrestling overall, and it did build up to the upcoming pay-per-view of Takeover Portland. So I really just going to go over the breakdown of the show, kind of give you guys my opinion on some of the segments, and then close this episode up with you guys. To kick things off, we had Matt Riddle and Pete Dunn, and they came out in a Broserweight mobile. That's what they're calling it, with the trophy in it. It's like a golf cart with the trophy inside of it. And that's pretty much what they went with here. Kind of looking like they could have just used some hydraulics as well with the golf cart if you really wanted to go that crazy, but I think that would have been ridiculous. Copying off Eddie Guerrero with a golf cart. Pretty fucking stupid. Though, the whole thing was very, it was really the same regurgitated comments made by Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne that they're going to go ahead and smoke through the tag team champions and beat the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, for the tag team titles at Portland. Now, I believe that will happen. I think Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne will become the tag team champions. Tommaso Ciampa and what's his face, Adam Cole, we'll go ahead and go one-on-one. It ends up being a disqualification ending towards the match, and that's what we're going to get for the finish of TakeOver Portland. I think that the title will change hands between Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa at NXT TakeOver Tampa. And that's not because because I'm going there and that's what I want to see. That's what I believe is going to happen. Now, if something different does happen, that will be very surprising to me. Though I do believe that if that does happen, we're more than likely going to see Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole face each other in a rematch anyway. It is a must-see thing. These two guys are going to deliver no matter what the end result is. So guarantee you, whether it's a disqualification fuck finish with Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa, you are guaranteed to see something that is going to be epic of a main event for TakeOver Portland. That I can guarantee you, whether the result is good or bad based on what I just said. So, don't be surprised if they tear the roof off the fucking place in Portland. So they make a mention of that, and then Bobby Fish comes out and Kyle O'Reilly, and they start making comments about the overall situation that they have to face them. And he goes ahead and he says, well, guess what, man? Bobby Fish goes ahead and says, you know what? We got more fish to fry. We ain't got time to talk to you about this bullshit because you guys aren't all that important. And mostly you guys are just a joke, plain and simple. Matt Riddle goes on to say, boy, it's kind of funny that Bobby Fish says he has more fish to fry, but then again, his last name is Fish, so that's kind of funny. Then he goes ahead and he mentions about, does a little riddle, like, how much could a woodchuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And he uses this in the implementation of, like, implementing the same thing with Bobby Fish. How much fish can Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could? Kind of thing. I forgot how he stated it, but it was kind of catchy. It was kind of funny at the same time, but it was a little bit, similar to something Vince McMahon would write up for someone to say, maybe. Then again, maybe I'm giving Vince too much credit. So that's just me in a nutshell. This was alright segment to kickstart the show. It wasn't extremely great. It seemed very similar to the same stuff, so nothing to cry home about there. Angel Garza and Isaiah Swerve Scott was a good match, and Garza picks up the victory here with the win. So no surprise there. And he is definitely looking for a way into getting his championship back from Devlin, who, by the way, is the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Then we had Dominic Dijakovic versus Killian Dane, which was a hard-hitting matchup. These guys kicked each other's fucking asses. Kudos to freaking Killian Dane for what he did in the ring. Unfortunately, he lost, and he got hit with this maneuver called the Feast Your Eyes for the win. After the match was over, Keith Lee came out and challenged Dijakovic to a match at TakeOver Portland for the North American Championship. Folks, I mentioned this a couple of weeks back when he won the championship. I stated this. Dominic Dijakovic versus Keith Lee will happen guaranteed, and Dominic Dijakovic will get a shot for this title, and it's going to be fucking epic. These two guys are going to tear the fucking roof off of this place for a mid-card championship. These guys are going to provide more prestige to this fucking title than any mid-card title on the main roster has ever gotten in a long, long fucking time. These two guys have produced some fucking off-the-wall, off-the-chain matches you will ever see in this brand. And they're two fucking huge guys. That is pretty damn impressive in my book. So, pay very close attention to that match when it comes about. So, we then get a interview for Finn Baylor and Johnny Gargano being interviewed. And Finn Baylor and Johnny Gargano conducted a split-screen interview to keep them separated. Johnny Wrestling told the Prince that he was never trying to be Baylor. The Prince told Gargano that he would hurt him and make sure TakeOver Portland is his last match. Johnny Gargano also, I believe, mentions he wants to shove that flag straight up his ass, the NXT banner flag, and beat his ass at TakeOver Portland. So that should be very interesting. These two guys had a very good promo in this interview segment. If you did not see this, you ought to. It was a good one at that. So I was happy with that. Mercedes Martinez versus Casey Cantazaro. Didn't really care for this very much. Martinez, of course, picks up the victory. She's been out of action. Well, she hasn't been in a major company at all, and she's been wrestling for almost 19 years. So she has not really brought about she never really got a big break in professional wrestling, so she pretty much did it for the love of the sport, and that was pretty much that for her career so far. Hopefully she comes out with getting some kind of big push in the company, and we get to see her do something amazing later on. The Undisputed Era brawl with Tommaso Ciampa, Matt Riddle, and Pete Dunne, which later on comes about. So Tommaso Ciampa is actually ambushing everybody in Undisputed Era who had been looking for him and laid out Kushida backstage. The Psycho Killer pushed Adam Cole into the ringside area before Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong got involved. Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne evened the odds, and William Regal told them they would settle this in the ring later as the main event in a six-man tag team match. Why they didn't make it a handicap match 4-on-3, I don't know. I think that was retarded. The fighting continued for a while, but eventually the brawl was contained for the moment. And that was that. So, Jordan Devlin versus Tyler Breeze. This was an okay matchup. Devlin picks up the victory over Breeze. No wonder, and definitely an obvious one. If you thought for a solitary second Tyler Breeze was going to win this match, you were going to be sadly mistaken. This matchup was okay. I didn't particularly think much of it, but it was alright nonetheless, especially giving Devlin a nice victory over a decent name like Tyler Breeze. I think gives them a lot to look forward to. Now, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley showing no respect to Charlotte Flair. This is the next segment on the show. I actually enjoyed this. For somewhat of an extent, I enjoyed this. Reason being that I enjoyed this was because how Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley were showing respect to one another, even though, yes, they are going to tear each other apart for the NXT Women's Championship. They are also showing respect to their brand for one another, that Rhea Ripley stands up for Bianca Belair in the sense that Charlotte Flair shows no respect to Bianca Belair in the whole conversation with these three women talking. So, I thought that they did a good job here. The one thing that I don't understand is why didn't we get some kind of fucking answer at this point and not drag this out where we, obviously know this is going to go to Rhea Ripley for her to be challenged for the championship against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. So, for this to be going on, I have no idea. I don't know what the fuck they're trying to accomplish here. To me, it seems a little fucking stupid. But that was the one major issue I had with this. But the rest of the whole entire segment, I really enjoyed. Rhea Ripley was good. Bianca Belair showed a lot of attitude and a lot of charisma in this whole entire segment. And Charlotte Flair was just Charlotte Flair. That's it. Plain and simple. There was nothing to this with her. She really didn't have a lot to say. She kind of just disrespected the entire NXT roster, treating them like they're lumps of shit. And Rhea Ripley's already got a win over fucking Charlotte Flair at this point from the Survivor Series pay-per-view. And you'd think that she would take her seriously. Unfortunately, she's not. Nor is she taking the rest of the NXT roster seriously in the women's division. Which, by the way, is the better fucking division than any other women's division on the entire WWE main roster, including the AEW roster as well for the women's division. So, at the end of the day, they have the best women's division in the wrestling world at this point. That's just my opinion on that. But quite frankly, I thought it was okay. I wish I would have gotten some kind of answer out of this, but that's what it is. It's whatever. Now NXT main event was the 8-man tag team, or not the 8-man tag team match, it's 6-man tag team match. It seemed like they were trying to rip off what they did with AEW's Dynamite show with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Page versus the Lucha Brothers and the Butcher and the Blade matchup, which, by the way, again, as I mentioned in that episode, was fucking off the chain. This matchup, unfortunately, was just one of these generic, okay, 6-man tag team matches that ended in a disqualification, and Ciampa, Riddle, and Dunn got the victory because Roderick Strong got involved and went ahead and tried to get into this matchup and cost his team the victory. And eventually, at that point, we had the Velveteen Dream make his return and destroyed all the heels on Undisputed Era, and standing tall after he delivers a Dream Valley driver onto Roderick Strong and stood tall in the middle of the ring. This was the best part of this entire matchup because of the ending. What they did here was fantastic. I loved it. It made Velveteen Dream have a very strong appearance, and it made him seem important. My God, John Morrison, you bring him back? What is he doing? An old stick he did in 2008 before they split up. Are you fucking kidding me with John Morrison right now? That is the biggest joke of them all with those two guys. Now, the thing with the the Velveteen Dream was probably by far the best, person. The way they did it was fantastic, bringing him back into television. They did an outstanding job with this. This was superb. This was something you could see Stone Cold Steve Austin doing, or The Rock, or even any major wrestling name back in the day would do something like this. Hulk Hogan even, for God's sakes. I mean, this was superb shit that they did here. I enjoyed what they did for Velveteen Dream. It made him seem important. And the matchup that we're going to get with Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream, which I believe will be made for Portland, will be off the fucking hook. So at this time, guys, this is really all I have to say on the show. Overall, it was a decent, okay show. So leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great night. Bye. Even though it's in the middle of broad daylight, but hey, I usually have that as my ending catchphrase for these episodes. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. I'll speak to you later. Bye.